All right, you're all set.
Okay, thanks so much. So as Chris mentioned, my name is Renata Ruiz. I am a senior AI business solutions specialist here at Microsoft. I have worked with SUNY for the last 3 years, and have been at Microsoft for almost 5 years. My role at Microsoft currently is to help institutions, education institutions, mostly higher eds and academic medical centers in personal productivity with Microsoft 365 Copilot, Copilot Chat and Agents. Today, we are focusing on Copilot Chat and Agent Builder in Copilot Chat. Everything that I talk about today is included with your academic licenses that you have now, no matter if you're an A3 or A5 campus at SUNY. Um, there might be a time where questions arise around certain features, and I will say that that requires an additional license with our Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is the Copilot that's pulled into all of the M365 apps and understands your work data or uses your work data to provide answers. Today, my focus though is what you have access to at no additional cost without an additional license, which is Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat and Agent Builder. Um, Please feel free to ask any questions that in either in the chat or the Q&A. I've been pausing during the presentation to make sure that I answer any of them. Chris mentioned that this is being recorded. I'm also going to share this presentation out as a PDF so that you will all have access to it. I have done this presentation in person at SUNY New Paltz on Monday 3 times, yesterday for staff 2 times, and then this morning. So if you know anything about presenting the same content over and over with that it can it can mess your brain up a little bit, and so hopefully I don't stumble too much. Please feel free to ask questions. If there's a question that I'm not answering or not getting through the way you're hoping, please raise your hand and then one of us will unmute you so you can elaborate. But let's dive in. So I usually start all of my presentations about Copilot with this slide because it really visually highlights how quickly this technology is moving. This chart is showing how long it's taken for certain technologies to reach 100 million users. And I'm sure all of you have a mobile device nearby or on your person that took 16 years to hit 100 million users. That ChatGPT line is basically vertical up and down. And so we're seeing that it's not a gentle slope. People are excited about the potential for AI and are using it. So this technology isn't going anywhere. It's moving quickly. It's changing quickly. And so how do we stay up to date? And when we think about generative AI usage in education, there's been an astonishing rise, uh, skyrocketing from 45% in 2023 to 86% in 2024. And I'm sure we'll continue to see that number rising as we look at 2025. So this rapid growth really highlights the game-changing impact AI has had on educational landscapes. Education is one of the highest users of Copilot across all of the industries that Microsoft serves. We know that it's helping uh, it's helping with decision making, providing real-time data on student performance and operational efficiency, streamlining administrative processes for admissions and financial aid. But at the end of the day, to me, the end customer is the student that you're serving. So how are we preparing the students in your institutions for the future of work and what the workplace will look like as generative AI continues to rise? We want to make sure that these students have the critical thinking skills that they may need, and also the technical skills that they'll need to utilize generative AI to be more productive as they enter the workplace. When we announced Copilot, About 2 years ago. The way we envisioned Copilot was that it begins with people and human ingenuity. So we named it Copilot, not autopilot. There's always a human in the room. And then with our announcement of agents being pulled into Copilot Chat in January of this year, we're seeing agents as augmenting Copilot by adding skills and knowledge to automate specific tasks and business processes. So just like everyone today has a smartphone with many apps, we have envisioned a situation where, ooh, sorry. Um, we envision a situation where everyone will have a Copilot with many agents for different processes. So when we think about Copilot, we're thinking about human augmentation, a private personal assistant. Everyone has access to a Copilot. And then that addition of agents and being able to pull agents into Copilot chat, making it connected and automating tasks and process. So every process can or will have an agent. When we thought about our education customers, we wanted to bring AI to education at no additional cost. And I will use the words no additional cost quite a bit as we go through because that's very different than free. So with your current Microsoft 365 academic licenses, whether you're an A3 or A5, you have at no additional cost chat, which at its core is a secure web-grounded AI chat, either on the app or on the web. And we announced availability of Copilot Chat in 4 Microsoft 365 productivity apps plus the ability to integrate agents into the chat experience. And then, of course, providing IT with controls and management and analysis, data analysis, and with the data, enterprise data protection that's included with your academic licenses. So what does enterprise data protection mean? EDP refers to controls and commitments under the data protection addendum and product terms. Those product terms are part of your Microsoft contract, and it applies to customer data for users of Microsoft 365 Copilot, whether it's Copilot Chat, Copilot Studio, or M365 Copilot. There are a lot of words on this slide. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I want you to know that all of these links are live and will open to a Microsoft Learn documentation page, which will further explain what all of this means. You will have access to this presentation as a PDF and will be able to click on any of these links to read any of this further. So there are 5 bullets here around enterprise data protection. That is what you're receiving at no additional cost with the Copilot chat with your institution's credential. So when you log in, you'll see a little shield that says enterprise data protection is applied to this chat. These 5 bullets, I'm going to go through them and give you some examples. We secure your data. So your data is encrypted at rest and in transit, and there's data isolation between tenants, meaning if you are from SUNY Cortland or from Alfred State, the data between your tenants are isolated and will never cross paths, despite the fact that you're all under one SUNY umbrella. Your data is private. We don't use your data. We don't have eyes on your data. Any of the access controls and policies that are currently in place that central IT at your institution has set up for your Microsoft 365 environment apply automatically to Copilot, meaning Copilot respects the identity model, permission, sensitivity labeling, retention policies, through the administrative settings that are already in place. All of that is inherited when you use Copilot Chat. So for example, if sensitivity labeling is something that's set up in your environment, Copilot will respect those sensitivity labels and they will carry through. So let's say you're trying to prompt against something that's labeled as highly confidential, Copilot will say it does not have access to that file. You are also protected against AI security and copyright risks. So there are guardrails put in place for anything that is prompted for harmful or hateful content. Copilot will kick back and say that it goes against our responsible AI policies. And then same goes for copyright. For example, if I prompted Copilot to generate an image of me as Spider-Man, for example, Spider-Man is a copyrighted image. Copilot would say that it's unable to do that due to our policies. And then at the very bottom, your data is not used to train the foundation models. That is the biggest piece that I think is important for folks to remember and understand. When you use a generative AI chat tool that is not designed for enterprise, Copilot Chat is designed for enterprise. What you're putting in may be training the model. And so when you use Copilot Chat, anything that you prompt, responses, data that is accessed through the graph, do not train the foundation model. So when we're thinking about things like student information, intellectual property, you might want to use Copilot Chat when you're prompting about those types of things because it's not training the foundation models. Everything stays within your Microsoft 365 service boundary. So essentially, you are using the benefits of the large language model without training the large language model. There was something. Oh, so all of that is really important to know. Just like you have any tool for different reasons, any apps for different reasons, when thinking about using work data or prompting for work, using a tool that is designed for that is the way to go. So you have access to that at no additional cost with your academic licenses. Copilot does save your conversations, your chats, and those are saved in an Exchange folder. An Exchange folder is just like the folder for your email. So only you have access to those conversations unless there's a request to audit, and that has to go through central IT. Those Exchange folders, the policies that are in place for retention carry over. So depending on your institution, it might be 90 days or 120 days, but that is how Copilot remembers your conversation. It's by creating an Exchange folder within for your specific information and still within your Microsoft 365 service boundary, and no one has access to that. I'm going to pause and see if there are any questions. Okay, Robin, I see your question. Under the education license, can you share agents? Yes, you can share agents as long as the agents that you are sharing are not consuming anything. So we'll get into that a little bit later around agents, but if you're creating an agent that's grounded on public-facing websites or just a large language model, you can share those agents with whoever you want. If you're unable to share agents right now, you might have to ask IT to see if they have blocked that ability, but there's no blockage of sharing agents in general. That's an IT option. And then you can access your Exchange folder. It's located in Outlook, usually, is where you can pull it up. But I'll also show you where you can find your conversation history. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so you can access Copilot in multiple ways and multiple places. You can use our web app, and you can access that by going to m365copilot.com. I'm going to put it in the chat, or office.com. and logging in with your university's credentials. If you use Edge, you can pull Copilot into Edge automatically. It's built into Edge. There is the availability of the desktop app if you are using a Windows device with Windows 11. And then the mobile app for iOS or Android is called the M365 Copilot app, which you can download. We announced in September the availability of Copilot Chat without an additional license in Outlook, PowerPoint, Excel, and Word. And I'll show you what that looks like in a live demo. And then like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we announced the availability of pulling Copilot into certain learning management systems. This slide is really for reference. I'm going to go through all of the pieces of Copilot in the live demo, but you could always come back to this and see. We're going to talk a little bit about the large language models that are available to you. So we are powered by GPT-5, which is the latest model through OpenAI. We have a partnership with OpenAI, and part of that partnership, our goal is to have OpenAI's latest models available in Copilot Chat within 30 days of release. GPT-5 is a bump or upgrade from GPT-4 Omni. So when you open Copilot Chat now and enter a prompt, it's sent to a traditional large language model. It's currently GPT-4 Omni by default, and that variant is optimized for speed and accuracy. You will see a try GPT-5 button in Copilot Chat, and that is bringing 2 major upgrades to Copilot Chat: an automated real-time router and then advanced reasoning models. So as you type a prompt as usual and hit enter, instead of going directly to GPT-4 Omni, the system now uses a real-time router which analyzes your prompt and decides if it's simple, for fast and concise answers. If it's complex, it's routing to an advanced reasoning model and providing you more thoughtful and context-aware responses. This is important because it allows Copilot to better understand and process complex work data. You're going to see the chain of thought, reasoning, and the responses, and it shows how Copilot is building its understanding step by step. You will not need to choose the model. Copilot does it automatically, which removes some friction and makes advanced capabilities accessible to everyone. I'm going to show you in the live demo what it looks like using one versus the other. I've been explaining GPT-5 as the Ferrari engines of GPTs. So if you're just having Copilot draft an email for you, you're not going to need GPT-5. If you're having it analyze multiple data sets or create an Excel spreadsheet for you, then GPT-5 is the way to go. And we'll take a look at what that looks like in a bit. You also have the ability to collaborate in pages where you have, you can pull the response from Copilot Chat into a shared page, work together in real time with a colleague or students, and then everything is persistent in a persistent workspace. You have the ability to generate custom images, interact with Copilot using voice features, so voice to text to improve accessibility and also practice presentations or brainstorm. Attaching your files and having Copilot Chat provide summaries or answer questions. You can add documents or pictures or text and markup files. You can add up to 4 files per interaction and 20 files per conversation or chat. You can use PDFs, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoints, and you can use a screenshot or a photo, and you could prompt against that in Copilot Chat. If you use Copilot in Edge or Edge as your preferred browser, Copilot can summarize web pages for you as well as PDFs. And then the ability to perform complex calculations with code interpreter. Um, Copilot can code in a variety of languages. You just have to let it know which language you're trying to code in, and it will do that for you. We're also going to take a look a bit in at Copilot Chat in the different Microsoft 365 apps. Those 4 apps are the ones who are the most used. And so Copilot Chat users can now experience a seamless design that's integrated right into your workflow. So you have real-time chat while working on documents, and this helps with um, collaboration and efficiency. You can have Copilot reason over your open files, so you can ask questions and receive insights directly related to that current work. All right, let's go into the demo, and I'm going to pause and see if there are any questions. All right, so Robin, I'm going to have to send you a list of the LMS. This was recently announced, and I know for sure Canvas, but I don't know if that's it's not the only LMS. We've been working with multiple LMSs to make sure that they have that capability. Erica, is there a limit to documents you can attach when creating an agent? So you can create agents grounded on documents, but that requires, because that it would then be pulling in work data or graph data into that agent, that requires something for it to consume against. That is not a free agent. You would need either a message pack through Copilot Studio, which are available at 25,000 messages per pack per month. You can attach documents or use documents when you're in the agent itself, and it's the same limit. It's 4 documents per interaction. But if you're creating an agent based on a document, that requires an additional piece. I just want to make sure I answer that. If you don't mind just letting me know in the chat that that answered your question, but we'll dive a little bit deeper in agents in a bit. Okay, let's go into Copilot. All right, so I am logged in as myself. Because I am logged in as myself, you'll see that I have an M365 Copilot license, and we know that because I have the Work tab. Today we're working in web only, and we don't need to worry about the Work tab. Up at the top, you'll see that Try GPT-5 button. This purple square is where we would start a new chat. This drop-down menu allows us to do a temporary chat, meaning Copilot will not remember or have memory of that conversation. It also will not be listed in my conversation history. This little green shield is letting me know that enterprise data protection applies to the chat, so it's turned on, I'm logged in. And then when we click on the ellipses here, we have recent pages, the ability to send feedback to Microsoft, and then settings. I'm going to click on settings because I want to talk a little bit more about that memory and personalization. When I click in personalization, you're going to see that I have all of these options settings turned on. Custom instructions allows me to add details about my preferences. I can edit these instructions. I actually don't have any in here, but I could add specific instructions about how I want Copilot to interact with me. Work profile means that Copilot is using my work profile as Renata Ruiz, a Microsoft employee, who my team is, who my manager is, to provide relevant answers. Saved memories. This is where Copilot makes inferences around what types of preferences I have based off of previous conversations it's had with me. So I prefer honest and direct feedback. I usually reflect solo before brainstorming. And if I found that any of these are incorrect, I could delete it. Or I could delete all of the memories and start fresh as well. So this is where all of that happens. Chat history means that I want Copilot to remember or use previous chats to continue to provide me more personal answers. Here's our chat box. This is where we would type our chat. This plus button is where we would add content. So here's where we would upload or attach any of the documents that we wanted to use, images, or attach it to your OneDrive. Tools are any agents that I have access to. And then I can use voice to text rather than typing. These tiles are just suggestions for different prompts I could use. If I click on see more, it's going to give me more suggestions. And then this prompt gallery down at the bottom is going to give me even more prompt suggestions where I can filter by task, by job type, or by agent. Up at the top, I have a navigation pane. I'm going to open that up. And I want to point out some things for you here. I have agents. These are agents that I pinned that I use on a regular basis. Agents that I recently built. I'm going to minimize that. And then all of my conversation history is here. So if I click on all conversations, I could see all of the conversations I've had, and I can filter by keyword to find what I may have prompted with the word dog. We'll talk about library in a bit. Let's go back to the chat. Let me see this question. The prompt gallery included a filter that was from your organization. I thought prompt data was kept on our device, or can it pull all prompts across the organization as that filter suggests? In the prompt gallery, this is like Microsoft created these prompts for people to use if they wanted to. It's not your prompts or any prompts that anyone that you work with created. This is something pushed out by the organization itself. Lauren, does that answer your question? Your prompt data also is not kept on your device. Everything is cloud-based, so it would be your prompt data lives in an Exchange folder that's cloud-based, not device-based. Okay, let's prompt a bit. Oh, there's a question. Okay, so Robin, what you're seeing is you have teach because you're in an education tenant. I do not have an education tenant because I have a commercial tenant. So I can talk a little bit about teach at the end. I'll also send you some additional information that is designed for our education customers. It's Copilot around creating lesson plans, syllabus, quizzes, all of that. So that's also pretty new. You don't see it on my end because I don't have an education tenant. Okay, let's prompt a little bit. Let me close this pane a bit. And I'm going to say, please create an outline for a presentation for designed for an audience of freshmen at SUNY New Paltz based off of, and I'm going to attach a file. So I could either hit / and search for, start typing the file name. I could also add content by pressing this plus sign, but I'm going to hit // and here is, oops, that's my presentation. This SUNY New Paltz Student Handbook. I want it to create an outline for a presentation for an audience of freshmen based off of that handbook. So let's see what happens. Okay, so here's a structured outline for a presentation designed for SUNY New Paltz freshmen based off of the handbook. It's giving me the outline. And let's just scroll all the way to the bottom. And you'll see that Copilot's gonna continue to prompt you to continue the conversation. You'll also see additional prompts down at the bottom. Before we go into any of that, I want to show you that it will pull sources. And so in this case, it's saying this response had no direct citations, right? It just used that handbook that I attached. This would copy the entire response. So I could paste it somewhere. This is giving feedback, whether I liked something or didn't do something right. I can share this prompt with someone I work with. It's gonna copy the prompt and the response. Edit in Pages, we're gonna come back to, and then this ellipses is going to either read it out loud or open it in Word for me. Let's hit Edit in Pages. So what that will do is it's gonna create a page component right in that same pane where I can go in and edit. So I can delete all of this. I can highlight. And I can, change things around. But up at the top, you'll see the share button. I can copy a link to this particular page and share it with a coworker and say, hey, can you work on this with me? And then that coworker would show up here, letting me know that they have the component open and we can work together, collaborate in real time. You'll also be able to add it to a notebook. So let's close out of that so I could show you where that lives now. So you'll see here's that new page. It's also in recent pages. And it's also in my library. So there it is. Okay, let's go back to the conversation. So let's say I think this is great and I want it to create a condensed one-page handout. Please create a condensed one-page handout in a Word doc. And so, let me just refresh, see what's happening here. Okay, it's not letting me do something. That's weird. Let's just start a new chat. So, it should let me continue the conversation. Odd. All right. I also want to show you the difference between using GPT-4 Omni, which is defaulted here, to when it might need GPT-5, right? So let's go in here and I want to show you. I'm part of a fantasy football league at work, and I prompted this yesterday. So I'm part of a fantasy football league at work. I want to prepare myself for week 9, and I attached 2 documents, a PDF that's like just information on how to be in a fantasy football league, and then an Excel spreadsheet that had all of my team information in it. And so you'll see here that it reasoned for 68 seconds. And you can see all of the steps it took in order to give me my information. So it reasoned for 68 seconds, and then it gave me all of the recommendations And it's a lot. It gave me why it's doing it, some week 9 notes I can trust, what not to do, too long didn't read, here are your starters, created an Excel spreadsheet for me that I could download. And then down here at the bottom, when we click sources, here are all of the sources, the citations for what it used to generate the answer. So it did a lot more deeper reasoning here. Okay. Let's close out of that. Let me pause. There's a question. So the question in the Q&A is, when you use the / to search, where does Copilot search? Is it only within MS apps, or do you specify a larger search? So in my case, I have used my OneDrive, and so it knows to search in my OneDrive. You're going to specify a larger search. You're going to let it know what, you're going to start typing the actual name of the file. When you use the plus sign here, you could attach content, you could upload from your desktop or from your device itself. Copilot will only be able to work on web or cloud-based documents or files. And so it will automatically create a copy that will go into your cloud, so in your OneDrive. Okay, let's go into Word. Okay. So when we're in Word and I'm going to open a document, this is a adoption contract for a dog rescue that I actually received. And when I received it, I was a little bit concerned because it was very long. It's 11 pages long. And there were some things that were like, this doesn't seem right. And so I actually pulled it into Copilot. So I opened Copilot up, and in my prompt, I said, please go through this dog rescue contract and let me know if there are any red flags and what questions I should ask the rescue before signing it. So I have this document open. It's going to use the document that's open. It reviewed it. Here's some potential red flags, questions I should ask, summary, and then it's going to ask me again to continue that conversation, what I might want to do. But again, I'm able to pull Copilot Chat in web automatically into my Word situation. If I wanted to have it create a document for me, I could prompt it to do so here. It would open a new document. Let's go into PowerPoint. Let's open this document here. So it's a couple of slides long. And if I hit Copilot on the top, and we're using Copilot in the web, and I could say summarize this presentation, and it's going to create a summary of the presentation. Now, if I wanted it to generate slides for me in a specific template or add images or, create a presentation from scratch, that requires an M365 Copilot license. Those are the additional features in M365 Copilot. In this case, we're just using Copilot Chat in that side panel. So here is the summary and bottom line, and then I can continue to prompt. Let's do Excel. So same kind of vibe here. When we open up an Excel spreadsheet, here's an Excel spreadsheet with a ton, rows and rows and rows of not real employee data. Let me open Copilot. And I could ask Copilot, to analyze the workbook or summarize the data. Sorry, I don't know if you heard that. My dog is freaking out. Okay. So it's going to summarize the data. It might take a little while. So here's the overview, demographics and distribution. So again, it's going to do what is available, what I have open right now. And then we could go into Outlook. And let me open an actual email down here. Okay, so in Outlook, you have to have the specific email open. And then in chat, I can have it suggest my next step, for example, and it's going to read the email thread that I have open to suggest my next step. It's not going to search across all of my emails. That would require an M365 Copilot license, and I would have to copy and paste things over here. But again, if you have the email itself open, Copilot Chat in Outlook can read that for you. Let me pause for a second and see if there are any questions in the chat that I need to. Okay. Johnny, when reviewing documents like the dog adoption contract, is Copilot completely grounded in the document, or is there a chance it will go off script and hallucinate? Put another way, is there something we should do in Copilot or agents to ensure they are grounded in only the documents we want involved the conversation? Okay, so in that particular prompt, I had that document open. I was prompting against the document. It is using the large language model to answer the question based off of the document. If I were creating an agent that I wanted to only answer based off of the information in the document itself, you can absolutely do that. However, that will require it to have a consumption model because it is using work or graph data. Let's see. So Kim is asking, when Copilot creates or modifies slides within PowerPoint, are the slides accessible or does that have to be checked manually? It has to, when you are creating slides within PowerPoint using the M365 Copilot license, you can let it know that you need it to be accessible and to, include all of that in the slides and it will do it for you. There's also an accessibility checker in PowerPoint itself that will check all of your slides for you. And then the other question here is, I do not see Copilot within Word. Are you now working in a pro version versus an enterprise? No, I'm working in the enterprise version using Copilot Chat. If you don't see it in yours, it doesn't mean that it's not available. We announced this in mid-September and it was publicly available. So that's something I would reach out to IT about. The question in the chat, how do you set up a consumption model? In order for the agents that are grounded on specific documents to work, you would need what we call a message pack. That message pack has 25,000 messages per pack per month. Let's see if there's anything else that's going to come up. Okay, let's go back into the PowerPoint. Okay, so some things to remember when we're thinking about using Copilot Chat is that we're experiencing a bit of a mindset shift. So we're going from searching or Googling something and moving into prompting, where you're having a conversation with Copilot. So you're using plain but clear language. You need to provide some context like you would with an assistant. Sometimes that assistant is on top of it. Sometimes that assistant is a little bit like Amelia Bedelia. So making sure that you have some key pieces in your prompt, so key elements to make sure that you are having a more relevant response. So a couple of things to know that you might need. Context. Why do you need it and who is involved? What is your goal? What responses do you want from Copilot? What source do you want Copilot to use? What information or samples should Copilot use? And then your expectations. How should Copilot respond to best meet your expectations? To get the best response, for example, in this like Mad Libs style prompt, the context here is I work in marketing and focus on competitor research. The goal is give me a concise summary of recent news about company name. The source, focus on web articles from the last 2 months, and then the expectations, provide the answer in 2 to 3 paragraphs and use a business tone. So making sure that you have at least some of these key elements will provide you with better content as you are using Copilot. There are some prompting best practices. So prompt length and clarity matters. If it is too short, you're going to get generic results. If it's too long and you're typing out paragraphs, Copilot might not follow all of the instructions. So the average prompt has been between 7 to 9 words. We say about 25 is going to give you a good size. Clearly state what you want Copilot to do. Clarity is key. Instead of vague requests, provide specific tasks or outcomes. Now, if you are asking Copilot to do something a little more complex, which is going to be a little bit longer, don't cram too many questions or requests into one prompt. Breaking the prompt into a step-by-step approach can offer some benefits. It gives you more clarity and focus. It encourages a more logical progression of ideas. It's more manageable, so tackling the task in smaller, manageable steps can make it less overwhelming. It does provide you more flexibility, so you can make adjustments or refinements at each stage to improve the overall quality of what you're doing. And then you can provide more depth and detail as you move forward. So letting Copilot know, hey, I want you to work on this. I'm going to give you the information step by step. It will understand that and even prompt you to give it the next step. The other thing to do is persona-based prompting. So letting Copilot know to act as a financial advisor, legal counsel, a nutritionist, an occupational therapist for a child. You can tailor your prompts to get more precise or specialized outcomes that way. You can also let Copilot know, like, I am a psychology professor at SUNY Cortland, and have it then tailor its responses that way. So you can get more solutions for different scenarios and make your interactions with Copilot more efficient and focused. And then my favorite is asking Copilot what it needs from you. So asking Copilot for feedback is a great way to make sure that you're getting Copilot to respond the way you want. So you could say, hey, Copilot, it seems like you're not really understanding what I'm asking you to do. What information is missing so that you can create the right content? Or upfront say, I'm trying to complete this. What information do you need in order to help me complete it? So let me pause here, see if any questions have come up in the chat. Nope, it looks like we're okay. Another thing to know is that if you're starting a brand new topic with Copilot, so I was prompting about the student handbook, and then if I continue that conversation and then talked about fantasy football, it's going to confuse the AI. So if you're going to a new topic, always start a new conversation. All right, we're going to move into Agent Builder now. All right, so there are a range of tools for agent creation at Microsoft. Give me one second. There it goes from end user all the way to developer. Today we are staying in the end user realm in Agent Builder. We can think about it as Copilot Studio Lite. So Copilot Studio offers a range of building experiences to suit, what you need for your organization. So low code, no code, like in Agent Builder, which is what we're going to talk about. There's low code in full Copilot Studio. And then you can extend agents further in Azure AI services for tailored AI solutions. But like I mentioned, we're in this agent builder today, very basic search and retrieve agents. Sometimes questions arise about, can this agent live on a public facing website? That requires Copilot Studio. Can this agent trigger another action? That's Copilot Studio. So just remember that we are staying on the Agent Builder Copilot Lite side today. Like I mentioned earlier, some of these slides are really for reference so that you can come back to it. We are going to talk about creating your own agents with Agent Builder today. This is walking you through all of the steps you need. So we're going to need a description, instructions, knowledge. You're also going to need to set the capabilities and suggested prompts, and we'll walk through all of those in the demo. So let me go back to Copilot Chat. And we're gonna go into agents here. These are the pinned agents or the agents I use on a regular basis, and then any that I built recently. When I click all agents, it's going to pull up an agent store. I don't like calling it a store. I prefer to call it a catalog just because store implies that you're buying something. And in this case, you're not. You're just searching for what is available. And then as you search down, you'll see that here are some agents that I have available to me. Some agents that are built by Microsoft that I can access. Any that are built for my organization specifically, any that were shared with me, any that are popular in my organization. And then down at the bottom, you'll see that I can create an agent down here. I can also create an agent up at the top. So let's go ahead and click Create Agent. And when I do that, it's going to open it up in configure. And I could go ahead and start typing the agent name and description and instructions all here. But I want to go into describe because this is where you could ask Copilot to build an agent specific to, in a conversational way. And in this case, Copilot is going to guide you through building the agent. You could start by describing what you want the agent to do. You could also use any of these templates. So Learning Coach, for example, you can basically describe customizations that you want to make based off of this style of agent already set up. So we could do that, but instead I would like to, I don't want to make it Learning Coach. Let's just go back, sorry. All right, so I'm going to start by describing what I want it to do. Now, I could tell Copilot right here what I want it to do, and it's going to ask me step by step. I prefer personally to use Copilot Chat to help me so that I'm not starting from scratch. And so I'm going to open a new tab here and I'm going to go back into Copilot Chat. And I have a prompt that I use all the time saying that I want it to act as a Copilot agent creator, and I'm going to share an idea, and then Copilot is going to write the description for me, and then it's also going to write the instructions for the behavior for me. So I'm kind of hacking the system a little bit because I don't want to start from scratch. Okay, so I'm going to tell Copilot that I want to build an agent, want an agent that will direct students to the appropriate resources for getting help with their mental health across the SUNY campuses system. Okay, so it's giving me now a description and instructions based off of my idea. So it's telling me here's the description, here's some instructions. So I'm going to say I want this. I think this looks okay, right? I can continue to edit it, but I'm going to copy this in here and go back to the agent builder and just paste it. Here's my description. When I do that, it's going to reason and you're going to see the agent start to appear here as it goes on. So there it is. There's my new agent. Here's a name for my agent, SUNY Mental Health Navigator. Sounds good. And now it's probably gonna ask me what behaviors or specific instructions do I want? What do I want it to do? So I'm gonna go back and say, this is what I want the agent to do. Right? So I want it to start with empathy, ask clarifying questions, provide direct links to campus-specific mental health services, specifically to SUNY campuses only. I want system-wide options, avoid diagnostic language, never attempt to assess or diagnose, normalize help seeking. So all of this is good. I'm going to say that. Okay, so the agent has been updated, and now here's the next step. Do I have any specific knowledge sources such as URLs that I want the agent to use? This is optional. I could always add knowledge sources later by going to configure. Do I have any URLs or files that I want the agent to use at this time? I do not. But I do want to go into this configure, please, so you could see what happens. So it copied over the description and then the instructions. I could come in here and adjust. I could change the logo here. So let's upload an icon with the SUNY logo. I could change the name if I wanted to. And then here's where I would add knowledge. Now, remember that I have an M365 Copilot license, and so I can add files here. If you do not have an M365 Copilot license or a consumption setup for like those message packs, you're only going to be able to add 4 public-facing websites or all websites. So we could use all websites. And so it's going to use the large language model and the web to answer the questions that this agent will be asked. If I had specific websites, I could click this button here saying only use specified resources. We want to restrict my agent's overall scope when accuracy is critical. In this case, we're not going to say it's critical, right? Um, the capabilities, do I want it to create documents, charts, and code? I don't. I don't need it to create images. Here are the suggested prompts. I'm going to say these are fine, and I'm going to hit create. Okay, so it's telling me that my agent was created successfully, that the agent is currently private and only available to me. When I go to share, I could change that and make it available to anyone or to specific people. But for now, we're just going to leave it here. And I'm going to go to agent. Okay. So let's go. Should be pulling up to the agent. There it goes. Okay. So here's the agent. Here are some suggested prompts. And then I can say, I am a student at Alfred State. I am struggling with anxiety. I have ADHD and haven't been sleeping well. What resources do I have? And so now it's going to use the prompt, the agent instructions for the behavior. So it's speaking to me very kindly. It's brave of you to speak up. Here are some counseling services at Alfred State and across SUNY. It's linking it. Then SUNY-wide, here's the link, crisis support. And then it's asking me, do I want anything else? So here are the sources, and I could say, I am taking a lot of classes with a big workload, and I'm having trouble managing it all. What are your suggestions? So I could continue to chat with it, and you'll see that it will give me academic support services, practical tips. So it's following the instructions that I gave it. There we go. All right, let's pause for a second. There's a question. Erica, if I were to build an agent to act as a tutor for a course, then share that agent, how would students interact with it? Do they follow a link? Do they have to log in? Does everyone who interacts with the agent see anyone else's prompt history? Okay, so in that share piece, when I built the agent, and then when we hover over the ellipses, we're going to hit share. And that's going to give me a link that I could copy and I want to make sure that this link works for everyone, for example. So I copy that and I could paste it into a class website or in an email. And when students click on it, what it will do is it will open up Copilot Chat. So students will have to be logged in with their institution's credentials, and that agent lives in Copilot Chat, whether it's the Copilot Chat app or the web version that we're in right now, and it would then be able to prompt against it there. Everyone who interacts with the agent, no one can see anyone's prompts or chat history. There's that enterprise data protection. There's no crossing of people's prompting in agents at all. Okay. All right. Let's do one with the template. So let me hit create agent here. Let's go to describe. And I want to use, let's say, learning coach, right? So I can say we're going to use this template and we're going to describe it in customization. So I am an organic chemistry professor. My students are having a lot of trouble with my class. I want a friendly tutor to help them out. So there you go. You'll see it's changing a bit here, right? Because we said organic chemistry. Let's change the name. That works. Okay, so now we're refining what the agent will do. Do I have any specific approaches or teaching methods? Do I want it to focus on step by step? Let's adapt to different student learning styles. Okay, so do I want to add any sources or publicly accessible websites? No, all good now. So I could continue to refine again in configure. Okay, so it's set up. I could go back into configure here and let's say I want to again make it open to all websites, right? Because I want it to use as much as possible and I want it to be able to create documents and images. So now I'm going to hit create. Okay, so let's go to the agent. Right. It's taking a little, it's give it a little minute here. All right, so here's my organic chemistry tutor. Now, while we did not ground this on a document, I can attach documents. So let's say I am a student and I'm going to say I have a sample lab report. I don't understand it at all. Can you help me? And so I'm going to attach it here. So there I go. It's a PDF. And it's going to look at that sample of that organic chemistry lab report. And it's going to break it down step by step for me. Okay. In the last, I've done this now 8 times, 9 times. The last couple of sessions, there have been questions around agents that are grounded on a specific document. I'm going to show you that. So this Penn Faculty Navigator here, let's go into edit because I want to show you how it's set up. It's configured to be assisting faculty members and understanding UPenn's policies and procedures. Here are the instructions. I don't want it to have any legal advice. I don't want it to provide personal opinions. And then if you look down here at the knowledge, it's just one PDF. And I have this turned on. I'm restricting my scope. When I click on that, you're going to see that it is a 174-page document. That is very boring, but understandable that you want an agent that is only going to use this document to answer the questions because it's not subjective. And so let's go into the agent itself. And so what I can ask here is, Here's one of the samples of the questions I use. I want to take a leave of absence. Do I just email my boss? And it's going to search across that document only without the noise of the internet to answer the question. So there it is. It's not sufficient. There are a bunch of things I need to do. It's telling me what I need to do, and it's pulling the source specifically. Now, what if I wanted to ask it, I need a new parking permit. What do I do? Okay, so it does not contain any information about the process for parking permits. It's likely managed by the university's Division of Public Safety or Transportation, and it's telling you where you could go as a recommendation, but it's not going to give you a direct answer because it's not found in the source. So it is very specific and targeted. All right, I'm going to stop here, see if there are any questions. Looks like we're good. Here are some resources that I added my agent building prompt here. You're going to have access to all of these links for resources for Copilot Chat, for agents, any additional training, updates and blogs. Here's my email and my LinkedIn. And then I'm going to stop talking, see if there's anything that comes up.
Does anybody have any questions for
You can
Renata
raise
while
your
we have
hand.
her?
Yeah, and
We'll
we'll
unmute you. Oh, we do. Robin's asking a question. Come on.
Thank you. It was a very good presentation. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Question that I have been asking my IT department to turn on the ability to share agents, as well as why we don't have the Copilot Chat in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. I have it in Outlook, but I don't have it anywhere else. And so I know you told me I have to contact my IT department. Do you have a direct link to resources that I can send them so that they can see how to turn this on?
Sure. In the link that Chris sent in the chat is actually a great place to start because there are technical resources in that on that link in that website. That is the link that I sent to all IT.
The which link are you
The
talking
one
about?
that's Chris just sent at 3:02, it says adoption.microsoft.com.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. And then Dylan, you will have links to the recording and the presentation, I believe Chris said, by next week. I think we're good. You know how to contact me now if you have any additional questions. Thank you all for attending and bearing with me as I repeat this over and over.
As I indicated, I think I put it in here. Maybe it was in the last one. We do also have a session for students specifically. So if you do have students that are interested in coming learn about how they can use Copilot Chat through your institution, they are more than welcome. I will throw the link up and you can have them register. We do ask that they register by midnight tonight so that they can receive the emails appropriately. And I think that is about it. So let me throw that up there before I let y'all go. There's the link. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.